Right, hey guys, how are we doing? Back with another video from Mother's Basement. Today we are checking out time travel in anime. On its thumbnail he had ReZero, Vivi, and Tokyo Revengers. Vivi, I really liked. The whole time travel stuff was cool, like the concept and everything, and that was awesome. ReZero did a little time travel-y thing when we saw Subaru's relationship with his parents. That was cool. Tokyo Revengers I've not seen, but from what I understand, it's kind of similar to Erased, where like main character goes back in time to try and change an event that is terrible in present day kind of thing. So yeah, I don't really know where he's going with this. It's literally just called time travel in anime. So if he's just talking about it, cool. So let's just get straight into the video, shall we? Please.
Anime has long been in the business of fulfilling fantasies.
Depending
on how you feel about fantasies.
Konosuba.
2021 is either a dream come true or an absolute nightmare.
Oh.
Over 20 different isekai were
That's a lot.
slated for this year.
Mushoku Tensei was close. That's coming back.
Including the cinematic event of the century,
Yeah.
Space Jam 2.
I've heard it's not that great.
Vivi! That scratches many of the same itches
So
in
good.
a slightly different fashion.
So good.
Time travel anime. And while there haven't been even half as many of those as isekai this year, all the ones we have gotten have been absolute bangers and redo of healer.
Back to the
But by
Jubilee.
and large,
That's
all
cool.
of the series and movies on the subject can be divided
That's Erased,
into
isn't it?
two
Yeah.
categories: timelines, time loops,
Okay.
time leaps, and time to argue about whether this last one.
Right, okay, interesting.
Borderline isekai for short. I probably should have just gone with that, but I really wanted to make them all fit that naming convention.
The time.
Sorry. Some of you may also be confused.
Oh,
with
yeah.
timelines, short for parallel timelines. So let's start by expanding.
Steins
on that
Gate.
one. I'm referring specifically to the quantum physics concept that every time some variable in our world could potentially result in multiple different outcomes, all of them happen at once, creating parallel realities
Okay.
that split off from the same point on the timeline. This concept has been used as the basis for some pretty wild scenarios, like Noain's Pan.
Oh, mate, that anime's so good.
Future Earths, which can only be resolved by two modern-day middle schoolers for complicated reasons.
Yes.
In general, though, anime that draw on
Oh, I haven't seen that in years.
science like this tend to be a bit more grounded, at least at first, limiting the scope of their dimension hopping and time travel in interesting, story-complicating ways.
Yeah, it is
Steins Gate,
weird.
microwave that sends text
Yeah.
time, and also organic matter, if you're okay with it coming out the other end a little more gelatinous.
Not like a
is
banana.
the archetypal example. Its conceit really only allows for one small thing in the past to be changed at a time, but by targeting the right event, it can cascade out in a butterfly ripple
And then
that
change
changes who
everything.
people are and even how the entire world around them works.
Yeah.
You don't need me to tell you that
It could even
science
change
fiction
what
time travel
sexual
is
orientation you are.
don't need to spoil anything that happens in it either. Most other series in this category tend to follow its lead, with different restrictions on how much data can make the jump. In Orange, for instance, the heroine, Naho, sends an entire letter back to her teenage self in an effort to prevent the death of the boy that she's about to fall in love with.
Oh.
It plays quite deftly with those what-if feelings we all have.
Is it
about our
alright
high
to watch
school
Orange? 'Cause I've seen the manga in
and
Waterstones
tragedies
before.
of the past, digging into how much regret can shape our lives for better and for worse, and asking tough questions about how much one choice or one friend can really do to alter someone's fate. It's a bit of a heavy watch, or read. The manga is one of Yazi's absolute favorites, and as
Right.
you know,
Okay, maybe I should have bought that.
justice. But no matter how you experience it, it will give you a lot to think about and even more to cry about.
Oh no.
Of course, limiting the future information that
Future
characters have
diary.
access to doesn't always lead to grounded
Mirai Nikki.
storytelling. Mirai Nikki Future Diary is also about people reading their future phone messages and altering their
Changing
actions
the
accordingly.
events, yes.
It's Mirai fucking Nikki.
That's weird.
Zero Chill, the animation.
Yeah.
A real roller coaster of a show, but a rickety one with low-hanging supports that are liable to rip your head off if you're not careful. Far better constructed is the anime roller coaster that opened up this spring, Vivi Fluoride.
So good. It's so good.
Technically follows the rule that only data can be sent across timelines,
Yeah.
but fudges changes it somewhat by making that data an entire hyper-advanced
AI,
AI
yeah.
sent back to stop all the other AI from
Going
doing a
murder.
Terminator 100 years in the future. To accomplish this, Matsumoto must team up with a robot idol named Diva, Vivi to her friends, who is the first of her kind to be given full autonomy and has been tasked by her creators to use it to make everyone happy
With her singing,
which
yeah.
is a bit of a far cry from altering the century-long chain of robot-related disasters and terrorist attacks that create the conditions for the great AI genocide, but as Matsumoto points out, everyone can't be happy if everyone is dead.
Yeah.
And while Vivi isn't built for
It is, and it's one of those
combat,
though. Every
the
time they
nice thing
do
about being a
change
robot
something,
is
something
you
else
can just
happens.
download Kung Fu. Vivi does a lot of really cool high-concept sci-fi
Yep,
stuff with
it
its
does.
premise, delivering many of the
Oh,
year's
so
action
good
scenes.
action stuff, yeah.
But at its heart, it's really a story about the heart. What exactly the heart is, and what singing your heart out really means. Across
That's a
100
question
years,
that is asked
you'll
quite a bit,
struggle
isn't
with
it?
those questions, and find answers in the very action-packed experiences she thought would distract her from them. And ultimately, well, I'll leave you to see and hear that
So
for
good.
yourself in its achingly beautiful finale.
Yeah.
As I said when I first discussed it in the spring seasonal, it's no surprise that Vivi turned out as great as it did, or that its timeline is as thoughtfully constructed as it is, given that its writer, Tape Nagatsuki, has quite a bit of experience writing time travel.
Oh.
Albeit of
Oh.
a different sort.
Wow.
Thankfully, that sort is a lot more self-explanatory. In a time
Because I
loop,
suppose,
a
oh, the
character
ReZero is time looping as well, isn't it? Yeah.
sometimes chooses
I forgot
to repeat the
about
same events
that.
over and over, with the only variation coming from their own choices, and occasionally not even then. The progressive time loops of Tape Nagatsuki's ReZero,
God,
which
so
sees
good.
Hiro
So good.
repeatedly throwing his own corpse up against the scariest threats its dark fantasy world can muster, looking for the one slim
Like, when
path
season 2 touched upon, like, what happens to everyone in those different time loops, it's like, whoa, we never thought about that.
the most iconic isekai out there. Though, funny enough, that defining feature was missing entirely from the half season that aired this year, as all the hard-earned growth that Subaru underwent in 2020 thoroughly prepared him to take on all the threats facing the Sanctuary
Yep.
in one go. And while watching that big plan come together over the course of 12 episodes would have been satisfying enough on its own, after 36 episodes characterized by the same trademark stop-and-start story rhythm, it feels positively triumphant in a way that only this show could pull off.
Yeah.
I've already
It's so
spent
good.
several hours raving about the many qualities of ReZero, though, so let's not dwell too long.
Okay.
Time loops don't have to be painful, though, even the apocalyptic ones. In Punchline's case, for instance, our ghostly hero Yuta never actually sees the bloody end of the world that
Oh,
he's fighting to prevent,
okay.
on account of how just glimpsing a different kind of end, specifically one with its own punchy line, sends him into a superpowered nosebleed coma that lasts until reset. It's
Oh.
a quirky little action comedy with a psychic, a superhero, and a shut-in superhero.
Interesting. I do believe I nearly checked this out one time because there was a abridgment out there, like an episode of it.
The key to preventing
Punchline.
Armageddon, and also a lot of potentially disastrous panty shotting.
Oh god.
Don't underestimate it on account of that, though. This show was written by Zero Escape and I, the Somnium Files genius creator Kotaro Uchikoshi.
Okay.
So rest assured that both the time travel logic and the underlying mystery are super solid.
Oh, okay. Interesting. It does seem like a very stupid, silly kind of anime from, like, first glance.
Yuasa's Tatami Galaxy, which condenses 3 years of college regret into every single episode.
Oh god.
Time loops tend to run short, focusing on a few meticulously crafted days. As we see in The Girl Who Leapt Through Time.
Oh, mate, yeah.
A massively influential sci-fi novel from 1967 that was adapted into a brilliant anime movie by Mamoru Hosoda in 2006.
Brilliant film.
In it, a teenage girl named Makoto stumbles, literally, onto a mysterious high-tech walnut that grants her the power to travel back in time by physically jumping from high places, which she instantly begins abusing to improve her grades, prevent herself from ever being embarrassed, and generally enjoy her youth.
And then
This,
the
of course,
changes.
has profound unintended consequences
Yep.
for everyone around her. She is fucking with one of the underlying principles of reality, after all.
Yeah, of course, there's got to be consequences.
A very important lesson about what really matters and how to take charge of her own future. Powerful stuff, if a bit cliched, but you can get away with that when you invented the cliche.
Yeah.
Almost every
You come up
series
with
I've
it.
talked about so far is influenced by that original novel in some way, particularly the way it uses its time loop to explore the inner world of a specific character. The girl who leapt through time also, perhaps unsurprisingly, helped to establish the concept of time leaps, which I define as a character traveling through the span of a single human lifetime, usually to undo some past mistake or regret. Though there are outliers, like Irozuku World in Color, where the heroine or hero's goal is to recover something from the past that can't be found in their present,
Okay.
generally while trying their best not to affect too many butterflies or get themselves Marty McFly'd. Zippang is a fascinating
Zippang.
example of this. It follows the crew of a modern Japanese battleship, the JDS Mirai, which, as it's crossing the Pacific for a training exercise with the US Navy, slips back through time 60 years just in time to catch the start of the Battle of Midway.
Oh.
The patriotic crew is tempted to use their modern weapons to intervene and defend their homeland, but of course that homeland is at present the heart of an expanding fascist empire ruled by uncaring monsters.
Ah. Wow, yeah. You're gonna change some things there.
Prosperous nation they actually call home. Realizing this, Mirai's crew resolves to find a way back to the future without changing the past, though obviously that's a lot easier said
Then done. It always is, isn't it? Like, you always get that, don't you? It's like, let's not change anything, it's gonna be bad if we do, and then they accidentally do something, and it's like, oh god.
that was simulcast this spring on Funimation about a pair of apparent entrepreneurs, Cheng and Liu, whose time photo studio is actually a front for... it's kind of hard to explain. Basically, Liu is able to see 12 hours into the future from any photo that he lays his eyes on, while Cheng can jump into the body of whoever took it for 12 hours. Using these abilities and their trans-temporal telepathic link, the pair do everything from odd jobs to...
That seems so strange. Wow.
...times to avoid changing the past, which is already a compelling enough concept.
Yeah.
Then episode 1 hits you with, let's just call it a whammy, because I really don't want to spoil nothing in this show. Link Click is a hidden gem among hidden gems that I myself...
Sounds boss. Weird concept, like, whoa.
Anime, but if I'd seen it at the time, it almost certainly would have pushed something off my spring list. Maybe even the next show I'm about to discuss. Tokyo Revengers is an exceptionally good manga that's been turned into an exceptionally okay anime.
Oh.
In my opinion, the music and voice acting are about the only good parts of its production.
Oh, okay.
But that manga's story about a wannabe tween delinquent turned 20-something wage slave who must travel back to his traumatic past and become the
to stop someone dying?
he ever was to save the only woman he's ever
There we
loved
go.
from being murdered in the present by the street gang that once made him their bitch is more than compelling enough to make up for any of its many animation shortcomings. It's easily one of the year's biggest hits.
Right.
And
Yeah, everyone's talking about it. It's always
Tokyo
recommended.
Revengers combines the escapist appeal and character-building potential of Erased's time-leaping murder mystery concept.
Right, so it's similar like Erased, yeah.
Forgotten fun of a good old-fashioned delinquent manga. A genre about passionate young men claiming the freedom society denies them using only their own strength.
Boom.
Like the best delinquent tales of years past, it shines a light on both the dark side of that violent lifestyle and the genuine strength of character that it takes to live in that world without losing oneself. It also gets complicated.
Don't get hit by the
in
train.
the best possible way, as Takemichi's investigations into the past gradually reveal a sprawling web of characters, relationships, and conspiracies, which he must untangle if he's ever going to set things right.
Right, so it's not just as simple as just, right, make sure she doesn't die.
volumes and counting. This manga's scope is a lot wider than your typical time-traveling tale, and the writing is genuinely smart enough to make that length work. If you're looking for something on the chiller side, this season's Remake Our Life offers a lot more escapism and a lot less violence, with a lot better animation.
Hey, it looks quite good, yeah.
Failed 28-year-old game developer who's found that his sensibly chosen economics degree just isn't cutting it in the creative
No.
The night after he's laid off, he drifts off to sleep, wishing that he'd taken a chance on an ultra-competitive art college instead of boring old university.
Oh ho ho.
And awakens 10 years years earlier with the opportunity at hand to do just that. I just talked this one up in the Summer Wants to Watch, and not much has changed since then, besides the show hitting a very nice beach episode, so go watch that if you want to know about it. Remake Our Life is one of the more adult time travel series out there, in more ways than one, but above all else, it's really fun, offering a laid-back escape not unlike what you'd get from a chill, high-quality isekai. Though, as I said at the top, time travel can get closer to that experience.
Okay, where we go?
Series like Dr. Stone and Inuyasha send their heroes and or heroines so far through time in one direction or another that they may as well be in a
Different place, yeah, but they're not, yeah.
In Dr. Stone's case, one could make the case that the Stone world still operates on the same rules as our own and contains all the same people, just frozen in rock.
Yeah, there's
thus,
that.
isekai. But Inuyasha's vision of feudal Japan is so permeated with strange magics and ancient, powerful demons, and so light on actual history, that it's basically just a Sengoku Jidai-inspired fantasy world, especially when you put it next to the relatively normal modern era that Kagome calls home.
Right.
Inuyasha is definitely in a different class from the more down-to-earth Nobunaga Concerto and all the other anime about modern people meeting Oda Nobunaga, and from the far less down-to-earth Batman Ninja, whose Joker-dominated Sengoku era is pretty goddamn ridiculous, honestly, but no more so than what...
I've heard it's quite an entertaining film, though.
Gotham. Basically, it's just an excuse to add some samurai spice to the Caped Crusaders' bread-and-butter bad guy fighting, which is awesome!
Yeah,
especially
does look
as
cool.
it was animated by Kamikaze Doga, the same studio that did the first 4 JoJo openings.
Cool.
It's pretty clear that's not isekai, but it's tricky to know exactly where to draw that line.
Yeah.
Part of what makes isekai isekai is the pronounced difference between the new world and the hero's origin point, which is obviously relative. So, like, do I count the cult anime Laws of the Universe Part 1 because its ordinary teen heroes go meet dinosaurs and fight bug aliens? Or do I discount it because their ordinary world is based on the very wacky worldview of the actual, literal cult that financed the movie as propaganda?
Oh,
Probably have
okay,
to dive
yeah,
into that and
whoa.
their other stuff in another video. There's also the question of reverse isekai time travel scenarios like that of Jibiate, which I've already spent more than
The
enough
worst
time
anime 2020. Yeah, that sounded awful. God, look at it, it's atrocious.
We certainly can't ignore
Feet.
the Fate franchise, where wizards summon ancient heroic spirits
Through time, yeah, cool.
magical abilities, but also the popular fictional accounts of those heroes directly impact the nature of their abilities and personalities.
Which is class.
So there's sort of a blend of real historical figures and the mythology that spawned from them. Plus, while Fate's modern day is quite magical already, the Babylonia we
Oh
visit
my
in
god,
Fate
granddaughter was
Order
sick.
is so much more magical than that it really feels like a different place entirely, and maybe trying to make sense of Fate lore in
Don't.
one short section of the video on a different topic.
Watch Giguk's video on Fate Explained.
Let's cut that off there. The question of where the world line lies between time travel and isekai is also probably a bit too big for this one section. Hopefully I've at least given you something interesting to think about until I can attack that question in earnest. For now, though, just let me know in the comments below what you think of the isekai time travel dilemma, and I'll try to include some of your arguments in that when it happens. There is one more way anime can use time travel.
What's that?
As a plot twist, but obviously naming any examples of that would spoil them for you, so I'm just taking this moment to note that they do exist.
Oh, okay.
Oh, and lastly, while I'm not sure if it counts, I'm sure someone will be mad if I don't mention that Gainax's landmark OVA Gunbuster features one of the best depictions of time dilation in all of science fiction.
Really?
So go watch that too if
Huh.
you're a nerd, which you probably
Yeah.
are if you made it this far into this video. I'm Jeff Thew, professional shitbag.
Signing out from my mother's basement. Interesting. Yeah, it's interesting how time travel is actually worked in anime, because there are different ways, isn't there? Like, the ReZero, I can't believe I was like, oh yeah, ReZero, when he goes back in time, when he like talks to his mum and dad, it's like, it's constantly looping in time, you idiot. It's the whole concept of ReZero. Duh. But, yeah, that was a cool little video. There's some interesting suggestions in that as well. Yeah, I'm such an idiot at times. So cool. And there's a few other Mother's Basement videos I want to check out. I want to check out his One Direct Priority one, because I want to know what happened with that. I dropped off that, because it started off really strong, and then it was just like, what's going on? But anyway, thank you to my patrons. If you want to have your name at the end of every video I upload, link is in the description to the Patreon page. $1 a month is all I ask to help support the channel. That is greatly appreciated. Thank you guys very much for that. And thank you all for watching. What do you guys think of that? What do you guys think of this? Click like, subscribe if you haven't already, leave comments down below. Let me know what I should watch and discuss in future videos. And I'll see you guys next time.